welcome to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Levine. Living intuitively wild is about coming back home to ourselves. Here, we talk about how to live connected to ourselves, others, and nature, and make a commitment to radical authenticity, vulnerability, and acceptance. On this podcast, we delve into a wide range of topics that span the human experience. We peel back the layers and talk about the things that are often not talked about. This is a space for us all to walk and wander this path of life together. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to our monthly ritual of sitting down to talk about the month that has passed and set our intentions for the month to come. And if you have been here with us for the last few reflections and intention setting episodes, you will know I've been doing it a little bit differently in the sense that I've been doing it pretty early in the morning, raw, unedited, just kind of going with it and really speaking from my heart and being very vulnerable, speaking from a more raw, soft place. And I definitely feel that way today as well. I think, like I was saying last month, it's because it aligns with the new moon and I'm feeling extra creative and inspired, especially at night and in the mornings on the new moon. Almost every new moon, I'm up all night journaling, coming up with ideas, and I'm just like sitting up in bed all of a sudden and needing to write something down. And this month was definitely the same. And also, I love sharing early in the morning because I really do want it to come from a deeply personal place, and I feel most connected to that part of my voice in the morning before any external noise or stimulus has come in, before I've checked my emails, gone on social media, listened to a podcast, gone into any other work, just me and my thoughts. And really, I wish I could take you guys on my morning walks with Theo, because that's when I feel the ideas and the inspiration and the thoughts really pouring in. And I wish I could just take those thoughts and turn that into a podcast. Usually those thoughts are what form my writings. And we just got back from our walk, so I really wanted to record this right after that before I jump into anything else for the day. So that's where we're at. We're also sitting outside, so if you hear any nature sounds, which I hope you do, I hope you enjoy them. I hope you don't hear any car sounds or anything else going on. I think you will, but I apologize if you do. It is really beautiful out, and I just had to take advantage of that. We had a moment last week. I'm recording this the last week of August, and we had a moment last week where the mornings were very cold, to the degree that I would wear my winter jacket on my walks with Theo, my Patagonia, so not like a super heavy winter jacket, but it felt necessary. Like I was not warm, and I was having a moment of like freeze and anxiety of, oh my God, winter is coming. I'm not prepared. And if you know my story at all, you know that I have notoriously had a difficult relationship with winter in the past, to the degree that I lived in Hawaii and I lived in Southern California and just thought I would never move back to a place that had 4 seasons. And then I had to go through a full external winter to have my own internal winters, and just realize that there was this connection between pushing away the seasonal external winters and my own internal winters, and slowing down and resting and softening. And I moved to England and had that full winter, and now I live in upstate New York. And so I've really learned to make peace, or I've learned to make peace with seasons. I've learned to make peace with seasonal living and really romanticize it. That's why it's such a core part of my business, because it has transformed my mental health, allowing myself to really romanticize the seasons. With that being said, colder weather, winter is still a lot for me. One way that I'm able to embrace them more fully is because I lean into each transition moment that prepares me for the colder seasons. So having that, what felt like such an abrupt, unexpected shift into colder weather in the morning, made me feel like, oh my God, winter is here. I was not prepared. I'm still in summer mode. Like, this is not good. And then warmer weather came back, and we've had some really, really beautiful days, but it was just a reminder that the transitions are so important. And this past Monday, when you're listening to this, is Labor Day. And I feel like a lot of people associate that with the end of summer and the transition into autumn, but really we have 3 more weeks of summer. Autumn is not until the autumn equinox, which is the end of September. And so September is all about preparing for autumn. It is that transition. It is that in between. And our society does not embrace the in between. And again, this is something I could talk about forever. I feel like this is the crux of the work I'm doing right now, is helping us all embrace the in between and find peace and safety and magic in the in between, because all of life is a transition. All of life is the in between. And so, but we're resisting that so much all the time. And I think it also has to do with the fact that September is Virgo season, which is a mutable sign. And even though Virgo is known for being very structured and productive and maybe a little bit too rigid, she's really all about change in a lot of ways. She is the transition. She is this in between. And if you listen to my Virgo new moon episode 2 weeks ago, we talk much more about that. But one reason why this episode is extra special to me is because not only is it the transition into September, this marks the transition into my birthday month. And I didn't always let myself lean into birthdays in the way that I do now. I, again, thought it was too self-centered and I didn't deserve to celebrate it or acknowledge it. And now I've realized that I don't need like a big birthday. Sometimes maybe I'll want that. But really what I want is just the moment, enough space and time to allow myself to reflect and to, yes, acknowledge that this is my birthday month and I'm going to be talking about that all month because I need that much time to process and reflect and integrate all that has happened in the past year, and then set my intentions and embody and step forward for this next year. And I think that that's really important, taking that time for ourselves. And also, allowing ourselves to celebrate that, celebrate ourselves and celebrate all that has happened in this past year. And so not only is it my birthday month, it's Virgo season, it is this in-between time. It is this really special, potent time. And September is just such a special month. I think it feels like a new beginning for a lot of people because people are going back to school, maybe new jobs, getting back into routine, setting new goals. But I feel like there's this essence of hope and excitement. And I really want us to lean into that and channel that. And that's a big part of what I want to talk about today. Because our society is so afraid of the in-between. Because in the in-between, there's pausing, there's unknown, there's uncertainty, there's releasing, there's shedding. And our society is so fixated on the forward movement, on achieving the goals, on the success. But you can't get there if you're not in the process, if you're not getting there, And really, all of life is a transition. All of life is the in-between. Even when you get to where you think you want to go, then you're on the way to the next thing. And so we really have to find comfort and safety and peace and magic in the transitions, in the in-between. And I think that they are the most magical, potent times. And I'm so passionate about that. But I really want us to focus on how we can be in this in-between and just be here, be where we are. And also September marks the start of the eclipse season. It really started on this last Virgo new moon on August 23rd. And eclipse season, really what I want to say about it here is not just expect the unexpected, just don't expect anything. Just meet each day as it is. Let each day introduce itself to you. Don't go in with any preconceived notions or expectations, like I was saying. And I think actually it's really important to not set really strict intentions. At least this feels important for me right now, to not get fixated on really strict goals or timelines or intentions for September, because the eclipses and this transition moment is really going to take us on the ride it wants to take us, and we are just here to meet it and be present with it. And honestly, that's been a core theme and message of this whole year for me. So September of last year is when I officially decided to embark on this endeavor of opening a physical space for my business. And I didn't know yet where that would take me. I didn't know I would find my space in High Falls, which meant I would move from the town I was previously living closer to the physical space. So where I'm living now, which I absolutely love, I didn't know I was going to move to. I thought that I would open the space much sooner. I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I still don't. Never opened a physical space before. It's really been taking each day as it comes. But this year was really not what I was expecting. I think I expected it to be more forward movement and to get to the end of this year having this finished shiny product to show people that's packaged and nice and product. But really, I'm still in the messy middle, and this whole year has been a transition year. This whole year has been an in-between, and that has been terrifying and uncomfortable, but I feel like it has been the exact timing I need to prepare myself. Like I was saying earlier, I need the preparation from summer to winter to really prepare me for winter, and then to embrace it, romanticize it, and lean into it. And I feel like that was this year for this transition in my business, because opening this physical space is challenging and terrifying for so many reasons for me. And it's a huge change, not only for my business structure, but for me personally. It's going to require me to show up in a physical space more versus I've been working virtually for a very long time. Going to be around a lot of people more often, just being seen more and really pouring more of myself into life. And it marks a really big turning point in my life, and also the way I've been showing up in my life personally and professionally. And this year has been what I needed to prepare me for that. I thought I was ready, and if it had happened earlier, then I would have been ready. But I've really needed this to mentally prepare. And it's so interesting because the last few weeks especially, certain things have fallen away that I thought would be really hard to let go of, or that I would feel really upset about or frustrated about. And I did, but then I felt them and then I was fine. For example, I originally thought that I was going to open my space this past weekend on the Virgo new moon, August 23rd. And I was so attached to that date. And I planned for it and prepared for it, and I had been trying to make it happen. And it just ended up not even being close to being physically possible at all. And then I set the date for September 20th coming up. And I thought I would start in August announcing that launch and focusing on that and just pouring myself into the marketing and the PR and all the things. And now I don't think that that's going to happen either. And at first I felt very emotional about that. I felt very upset about that and very overwhelmed. And then I let myself feel all those emotions and move through them. And this was like 2 weeks ago, mid-August. And then after that, I felt better. I was like, I don't know when the space is going to open. I trust that the timing will work itself out and I'll know what I need to know. But also, I'm okay with it. I think we also are so used to being upset when we don't know things. And I, for one, am. The uncertainty, the lack of control is so terrifying for me. And that has been really challenging. But I got to a point this past week where I was like, I actually don't even care. Like, I am just so used to caring. I'm so used to this upsetting me. I'm so used to this making me so anxious and overwhelmed. But really, I'm in the place where I just can't care anymore. And I've moved through that. And of course, this is not consistent. I still have moments where it's overwhelming and frustrating and anxiety provoking and all the things all the time. But the overall feeling right now is I really do trust. I really am landing in trust, and I know that the space is going to open in the perfect timing, and I'll know when I need to know. And right now I don't, and that is okay. And that's huge for me. And I really think I've only been able to get to that place because of this past year preparing me for that, and because I have felt all my emotions and allowed myself to be where I'm at throughout this whole process. And August felt like that moment of everything finally shedding away to reveal the fact that I do trust. I do trust. I feel like this year the word has been trust, and I've been like trying to white knuckle it, being like, okay, I see that I have to trust. I'm trying to trust. And then August was like, wow, I trust. And that felt like a huge, huge transition for me. And so I want to share a couple of other core lessons from this past year that really came to a head in August. So this is kind of a combination of my birthday reflections and then the way that they unfolded for me specifically in August, because August felt like a shedding month where the totality of what this past year has been leading to came to fruition. And came to fruition in the sense that things didn't really manifest, but they fell away for the space to be created for them to manifest. I hope that makes sense. So the first main reflection that came up for me is the fact that it's all happening. Even when you can't see the growth, it's happening. The roots are gaining depth, they're building strength, they're getting ready to break through. And one day, unexpectedly, quietly, what feels like suddenly, but is anything but suddenly, you look around and realize that what you are doing now and who you are now and the life manifesting around you is because of what happened underneath. Even though you didn't see the evidence or thought no one could notice, and even when you grew impatient, waiting for the seeds to flourish, waiting for the proof of your work to take hold, it was all rumbling beneath the surface. And now, not only are the flowers finally growing, blooming, and bursting, but you are the flower. You just hadn't even noticed that you had become. This past year has been us becoming. And I feel like this past month, all the rest was falling away for us to see who we've become and who we are stepping into. It's kind of been like a sneak peek into who we are stepping into. And the second part of this is it's all deepening. With all of that progress remains the spiral. If you know me, you know spiral is one of my main symbols. I feel like we all have different symbols that repeat themselves in our lives, kind of like a theme in in symbol form. And for me, the spiral is one of the core themes in my life. Here, I feel like it's symbolizing the work is never done. There's always deeper layers to explore. We're always becoming more and more of ourselves, and the spiral is always revealing the dirt to see more of what's underneath. Even when the growth is starting to peek through the hard ground, the sun is starting to shine through. Even when we feel like maybe we are starting to arrive, there's more to be done. Our growth is continuous. The seeds still need tending, the weeds still need pruning, the flowers still need watering, and we never want to stunt or ignore our growth. We think we want our growth to be done. We think we want to be there and fully grown, but really we want to continue growing. We want to continue evolving. And this can be so exhausting, especially when the spiral is spiraling and we want to be present with what is growing, but we still need to maintain our progress and focus on supporting what needs tending. So we need to find the balance between pausing in what is growing, what has grown, and being with what is threatening to cut us down or stunt our growth. We need to learn how to be present with both. And that's really what being present is. It's not just focusing on the good that's here or just focusing on the bad, quote unquote, to use these terms. Not that I think really anything is good or bad, but that's a whole other conversation. We have to acknowledge all that is blooming around us and the weeds still trying to take hold. We have to literally stop and smell the roses, not just acknowledge them or pick them or water them or prune them, but smell them and really be with them and be them. When we can be the rose, we see that we are always growing, and we have our thorns, we have our buds, we have our blooms, we have our seeds, and there's always bees coming, there's always the threat someone will pick us, and we have to just be all of that, be in all of that. And we still want to focus on the sun and orient ourselves towards the sun. And what I mean by that is orient ourselves towards what is going right and focus on that, but also finding peace in the clouds and the darkness they hold and the threat of the storm. And that is how we loosen our grip on life. That is how we lean into life. Because we never know what the next seed is going to produce and what nutrients are needed to allow for that new layer of the spiral. So we just need to allow life to unfold as it does. And the third main reflection from this year is it's all for a reason. This is the crux of it all for me. You can't rush the pace of your growth, and this has been the year of trusting the timing. This is the theme that has woven through all of my work, my words, and my wisdom this year. I can't seem to escape it, so that's probably why you've heard me talk about it so much. What on the surface may seem like a setback or a setup or a regression or restriction is really leading you closer to your freedom, even if it doesn't seem like it. We just have to accept and have patience and trust. Learning how to embody the pause, be the pause, be the in-between. And you'll notice a theme here of it's not just embracing and noticing and being present and accepting what is. It's really being with all of it, sitting with all of it, basking in who you have become, and learning to honor your pace, not comparing, contrasting, or competing with anyone else, especially, and this is a big one for me, the version of yourself you thought you needed to be. I've learned the pauses, pivots, slowdowns, not yet, almost, and just a little bit longers are what leads to the most transformative transformations. For me, they have been some of the most important nutrients to support the alchemical process happening underneath the surface. Without the pauses and in-betweens lasting exactly how long they have and are continuing to, I wouldn't be who and where I am. And sometimes it's okay to not know the reason that things are taking longer or moving in a way that you didn't expect. There's no point in fighting or trying to figure it out. Sometimes that's revealed to you, and sometimes the not knowing is part of the whole point. Once you accept that your timing is on purpose, your path is your own, the pause is the whole point, you accept every which way the journey unfolds. I used to think I could bask in the sun indefinitely, endlessly forward-moving, persistently controlling perceptions, just always being on my own. This year reminded me that the shade is sometimes the only place I want to be, that when I'm not blinded by the sun, I see all the other flowers blooming around me, ready to intertwine our roots and combine forces for growth. I just had to pause and be in it. And this not only speaks to being accepting of the challenges that come my way and knowing they're the nutrients I need to move forward, but also not having to be so independent and not having to be perceived in a certain way, and connecting with community and focusing on collaboration and really deepening my connections and putting down roots and doing that here in person. And also allowing those relationships to take their time. That's been really important for me as well. I've wanted to form my community here and have my people and make my place, and that really takes its time, and that's been something I'm reminding myself, and I'm also reminding myself I have time. I'm putting down roots here. I want to really get to know the town, get to know the people. I want them to know me. And I just have to let that take its time and let the world, let this place reveal to me who I'm meant to know. Because we might think that there are specific people we feel really drawn to or excited to know or that we're meant to know. But I've learned with relationships and friendships especially, we can't always know who we're meant to know. And people come unexpectedly out of the blue, and we just have to be open to who comes our way and open to how they're going to impact our life, and also open to how we're going to impact them, and not needing to try to control that or be perceived in a certain way. Because when we just allow ourselves to be who we are and trust that we will impact people the way we're meant to, that's when we can fully live out our purpose and our path, because we're not trying to control or contort and be a certain way. We're just being ourselves and letting that essence impact the world the way it's meant to. And that's been a big lesson for me. And while these lessons and examples might be very specific to me, I do feel like August was this moment where we realized who we have become, where things have fallen away and we've just allowed them to. Finally, things that we thought we would hold on to so tightly or would never let go or would have a really emotional association with forever. I feel like August has been this moment of the release. And even that, if that has felt really challenging, or we have felt resistant, or we have felt emotional, I do feel like a lot of us have gotten to this boiling over point where we just had to let it go, where we just had to let the things shed. We had to let the things fall away. We had to make the space. And that's because we are moving into this transition. We are making way for something new. And we are not yet in the new year, of course. We're not yet in that phase, but we are preparing for that. This is also this time of the second harvest and noticing what we picked in our first harvest, noticing what has grown from that transition from the Lunosod portal that we talked about last month into walking closer to the autumn equinox, where we're then getting closer to the winter solstice. And it's all just preparing. Every moment leads to the next. And I want you to take stock of what has fallen away this last month, maybe even without you realizing, what felt easeful and what surprised you and what felt easeful, and what that has allowed you to potentially make space for moving forward. August was the release, the shedding, and now September is sitting in that empty space and being comfortable there and being curious about what's going to come and fill up the space. I don't think the space is going to be fully filled in September. I think that is what we are preparing for and walking towards. September is the preparation. And we really have to get comfortable in that pause, in that in-between, and not jumping forward to autumn, not saying, okay, summer's over, it's done, and now we're somewhere else. Saying, no, September is slowly letting us say goodbye to summer and walk slowly into autumn. And knowing that we need those preparations, we need that processing, we need that integration, and allowing for that, accepting that, embracing that, being in that pause, being in that emptiness without needing to fill it or disconnect from it or not even acknowledge it. And the only way we can do that is by allowing ourselves to feel all that we need to feel when it arises. We can only get to the place of releasing and shedding without caring about the things that we used to care about because we fully felt them. That's what September is asking of us. It's asking us to be uncomfortable in the unknown and the in-between and in this empty space, and to just pause and breathe with it and allow ourselves to be comfortable and safe with it, and to realize that we've done so much work to get here that now we can feel comfortable and safe with it, even if it's still uncomfortable, even when it brings up emotions, even when we feel so much frustration and resistance. There can still be this underlying sensation of groundedness and peace because we've worked so hard to get here. And we also know that when we feel the feelings and allow ourselves to be in that, on the other side is the peace. On the other side is the trust. The trust. I think that September is going to be this month of the pause. After a crazy summer, after a crazy year, after so much happening, I think that September is going to be a time when life is just unfolding around us. And it might seem externally like there's a lot going on, but internally we can know that we're just in the pause. And I really think it will feel that way. Maybe not look that way, but I really think it will feel that way. If we allow it to, if we no longer get attached to the, oh, I need to be forcing the forward movement, or I need to be always productive, or I need to be filling the empty space or filling it with distractions. If we can allow ourselves to be like, no, I am comfortable here. I can be in this pause. We will notice that that is what September is asking of us. And I'm still sitting with my intentions for my 29th year around the sun, and I have some rituals and ceremony in place for my birthday that I'm excited to engage in and see what reflections and intentions come from that. But my main intention for this next year that I know already for sure is confidence. I want to lead with confidence. I want to walk through the world with confidence. I want to, and for me, confidence means this grounded sense of self. This knowing that as long as I show up to the best of my ability and allow myself to be who I am with integrity and intention, guided by my intuition, I will have the impact on the world I'm meant to have. Things will work out. I can trust my timing. I can trust my life. I can trust my path if I just walk with confidence in who I am, if I allow myself to be me. And when I do that, it all will fall into place. And I think, especially as I'm opening the physical space and so many fears and insecurities and uncertainties are arising, I have to land in confidence and also decide, just like I'm realizing, oh, I'm not feeling as much resistance or emotion around the uncertainty or the lack of control I have around when the space is going to open. I think I'm also having this moment of like, oh, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work out. Yeah, it might fail or it might not meet my expectations or X, Y, and Z. And I know that I'm going to be able to deal with whatever happens. I'm confident that, one, I'm confident in what I'm doing because I know it's what I'm meant to do. And I'm confident in myself because I've worked so hard to get here. And I'm confident in my capacity to hold whatever comes my way. I'm confident that whatever this experience brings to me is what I'm meant to have. And that does not make it any easier. That does not make the anxiety and fear and overwhelming moments of breakdowns any less overwhelming, because I still have those moments 100% and I will still have them. But I am feeling this deepening connection to peace and trust and confidence within all of that. Even when I'm having a breakdown that no one's ever going to show up and it's going to fail and it's going to be horrible, underneath that, I'm like, this is what I'm doing and I trust that and I'm confident in this choice because I know it's what I'm meant to do, and I'm going to return back to that mindset after I get these emotions out and have this breakdown. So that's kind of how you tap into both and embody both. And they have to play off of each other. I wouldn't be confident I wouldn't be where I'm at and have this sense of confidence I have now if I didn't allow myself to feel all the emotions and also go through the insecurities and anxieties and fears and prepare. And my confidence wouldn't be true. It would be more arrogance. And also, I wouldn't be able to maintain it if I didn't allow myself to feel any emotion that arises. I wouldn't be able to also do what I need to do if I didn't allow myself to lean into the confidence. So that's what's coming up for me right now. I think that this is my year of confidence. Actually, I was on someone else's podcast recently and they asked me what era that I'm entering into. And I said, I'm in my confident era. And you know what? I'm claiming that. Year 29 is the I mean, I think this is something I want to carry with me for the rest of my life, but I'm entering my confident era, and it's confidence with a dash of beginner's luck, naivety, and romanticism, and kind of that putting a little bounce in my step, even when I'm crawling. Laughing while we cry, it's that kind of energy. And having fun. It's like when you're up not that I ever did this because this is just not who I am, but pulling an all-nighter the night before a test, and you're at before a final, this huge test, and you're up with all your friends and you're laughing and you're like delirious and you're studying for something that's so terrifying, but you're having so much fun and you're just like on the floor hysterically laughing, and then you start crying and then you start laughing again. I feel like that's a little bit what this year is going to be for me. So we'll just see how it goes. But I'm really grateful and excited to bring you guys along for the ride. And I'm excited for September. I'm excited for my birthday. And I hope you guys are too. I'd love to hear what August felt like for you, especially, in general. And if you had a different experience, if this resonates, if it doesn't, if it does resonate, I would really love to hear what seemed to fall away for you and how that felt. If there were things that fell away that felt really challenging, or things that fell away that you thought would feel challenging, but like I was saying, ended up, you looked around you, you were like, oh, I just feel differently now. How you're feeling about this pause and this in-between, this preparation for autumn, and if you have any intentions for September. Okay, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. Oh, and I do want to add that on Substack, I have a Substack series called Making Space for Ritual, talking about my weekly reflections and intentions as I'm preparing to get this space created, making space for intentionality and presence throughout this very crazy, busy, unknown, overwhelming season of my life. And so I get really raw and vulnerable there, not just about the space. It's relevant for all aspects of life. And I talk about all different, just depends on what the week brought. And Substack is really where I share so much of my heart. That's where I take all my thoughts from my walks and all my midnight moon writing and pour it out there. So definitely head to Substack. And also, if you are in upstate New York or wanting to visit and want all the first knowledge on the space and when it's launching and the first offerings and deals and all that kind of stuff, discounts, that the waitlist will be in the link below. So if you sign up for that, it would mean so much to me, and anyone who does will get special offerings and behind the scenes. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.